we're coming back to you live from the duck pond. I'm Sean.
And I'm Zach.
And guess what, Zach?
What, Sean?
I want to complain.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I already complained to Corby about this.
You can vent to me.
Okay, so remember Saturday? How we didn't hang out?
No, Sean, I don't.
Yeah,
actually.
so Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday. This is all I have to talk about today. Okay.
Okay.
Saturday was a horrible day.
Why?
Okay, well, first of all, the whole week was just exhausting for me. Lots of things were piling up. There were problems at work. There were problems at school. There were problems in my brain. So many issues. I was exhausted the whole week, and I was unhappy. And then we reached Saturday.
And?
I had to work.
Ooh.
And my plan was to do homework at work.
Right.
So I leave that morning. My shift was from 11 to 5, so the shorter shift. I start driving to work, and I get to the end of my street when I realize, I forgot my laptop. I needed to do homework. Like, fine, I'm only at the end of my street, right? So I turn around, I grab my laptop, I go back. This was the first of many problems.
Oh, no.
So I get to work, and there's already a line because there's only one other person working, and there's just one other dude waiting. And 50% of my job is people bring in Amazon returns, and I scan a barcode and it prints off a label.
Nice.
That's 50% of my job. This dude has an Amazon return.
So you're saying when I need to return my books I got off of Amazon,
Nah,
I
you
can
have them come pick it up, man. So, I don't want to see you. So
That's too bad.
I never want to see you in the store. Anyways, that's all I have to say on that.
I did try. Me and Jacob tried to come mess with you. But you were gone.
Yay.
You were
Anyways.
closed.
So, this guy comes up. He has an Amazon return. I'm like, cool. You can show me the barcode. He's fumbling around with his phone. He has bad connection. Everyone does up there. And so I'm like, it might help if you go step outside. Sometimes that helps them get better connection. Or you can go down to Swig. It has free Wi-Fi. He's like, okay, cool. So he goes steps outside. I'm like, whatever, cool, whatever, fine. He comes back in, shows me what he has. It is not the barcode to scan, but it is the label itself. I'm like, okay, no problem. I've dealt with this before. Here is a card. It has our email on it. Email us the barcode and we will print it off for you. He's like, cool. So he's fumbling around with his phone. He has bad connection. I'm like, maybe you need to step outside. So he steps outside again. And I'm like, okay, great. It comes through. I go check the email. I click on the button. It says, you can't access this label. And I'm like, I can't make him resend it. He has to step outside again? So I'm like, okay. So I walk back out. I'm like, hey, dude. So it didn't work. Here's the store computer. Let me swipe the card so it doesn't charge you for anything. You can go ahead and log on there and it prints it off here. He's like, cool. So
I think you were out of paper.
I'm watching from the register as he tries to log on 4 times and keeps getting the password wrong. And it's just stressing me more out because somehow this is my fault, right? Finally he gets on and I'm like, finally, praise freaking, what's the Hylian goddess name? Whatever, it doesn't matter. Praise Hylia, yeah. He's like, hey, is this all I need to do? So I walk over, I'm like, yes, go ahead and hit print. He hits print, I look over at the printer, nothing happens.
Oh my god.
And he's already like logging off. I'm like, okay, so I walk over to the printer, it says there's no toner. I'm like, well, maybe it's wrong. So I just open and close it, and it's like, no, there's no toner, you fool. And I'm like, okay, no problem. I walk over, and he's like, do I need to open it? I'm like, yes, please open it back up. So he opens it back up. And I'm like, here, let me do something. I print it on the better printer with the nicer paper that actually costs more money, but it's still going to be free because, like, why would I? And I'm like, okay, cool. Get out of my life. That entire experience was a metaphor for the rest of the day.
Oh, no. John, I want you to know, I would have been so stressed in that moment because it's not like, it wasn't even your fault, right?
No, but it's your responsibility somehow.
That would have ruined my day.
I got past that. I did a very small amount of homework that day because people just kept coming in. And nothing was really that difficult until this guy comes in about an hour before closing.
Of course.
And he says, hey, I need a passport photo taken. What time do you guys close? I'm like, at 5. He's like, okay, I'll be back. And then he says something strange. It's my baby. I'm like, do babies need passport photos? Whatever. I guess I can't question it. And I just go to my coworker and I'm like, do you think that guy's going to come back? Because people say that all the time, you know?
Uh-huh.
He's like, nah. Well, guess what? 15 minutes before closing.
Of course.
And you know, passport photos take longer than other things. And more people came into the store. Like, freaking 6 people at once who were all separate. And somehow, wow. Nice and loud. Nice and
there's
loud.
our background noise.
Like 6 people at once who all knew each other randomly. And they're like, oh my gosh, hey, party at the UPS store. And I can't help them because I'm helping Mr. Passport Photo with his 1-month-old infant.
That needs it.
Do you know how much training I've received to take passport photos? This was my training. Here's this tiny digital camera we have. Here's a screen. Take the photo. Okay? I don't know how to take a photo of a baby. So we get like some white thing, like white poster for it to like lay down on, right? And like I take the photo and its arms were up, which isn't supposed to happen in a passport photo, and its eyes are closed because it's a 1-month-old baby. And I'm like, I guess this will have to work. So I go back, I print off the picture. He wants it also emailed to him. I do that. I take it out to him. Now it's closing time. And I show it to him. And I'm like, do you think this will work? And he's like, the arms wouldn't go down. I'm like, it's a baby.
It's your child.
You want me to grab the arms? I'm holding the camera, but what do you want from me? He's like, okay, it'll have to work. I'm like, thank you. So, then he's like, I'm like, do you want me to cut those out? Because they come in like 6 that are all 2 by 2 inches. And he's like, no. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Makes it easier for me. And he's like, actually, yes. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, we have like a square cutter thing, literally just for that. I'm like, okay, it's fine. We usually like cut out 2 for the customers and let them do the rest. And he's like, could you cut out all 6? I'm like, of course. So,
if you insist.
Finally, get rid of all the people out of the store. After that conundrum, we close up. Everything's looking cool and Gucci. I start driving home screaming. Literally in my car screaming. Okay? As I'm leaving the parking lot, someone cuts me off.
No.
And I'm like, okay, whatever, fine. But then they turn left again, and so they slow down, and I almost hit them because they just slow down so abruptly. I have to slam on the brakes and skid a little bit. And now I look like the douche because I skidded a little bit. I'm like, great, cool, whatever, fine. Screaming again, get home, just face plant on my bed, and then I realize my laptop's still at the store.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, I walk out of my room, and like, my sister's sitting there, and she turns and she's like, are you okay? And I just like march upstairs. I'm like, hey mom, can I use your car to go can I take your car? And she's like, what? Why? Where are you going? I'm like, I left something at the store. She's like, okay. So I get in her car because she has an aux cord. The truck's radio doesn't work, so I'm like, at least I can have music loudly blaring.
Music. You're right.
I get inside, there's no aux cord. Whatever, fine. I start driving, at least it'll be a smoother ride than the truck. I won't crash, hopefully, you know. I drive up to Fox Hollow, you know that turn?
Yeah.
Which is like 3/4 of the way to the store. And I realize the store keys are on the truck keychain. I have to turn around, and you want to know how much screaming I was doing? I was doing a lot of screaming. I drive all the way back home. I sneak into my house because I don't want them to know I made this mistake. I grab the keys. I drive all the way back to the fetching store. I get my laptop. I drive all the way home, go into my room, and just like die inside. Just like get under my covers and just like cry slightly. And then my sister comes to the door, which I knew was going to happen because we always go out on Saturdays. And she's like, we're going out to eat. I'm like, leave. So they go without me, and I'm finally left alone. And that was the terrible Saturday.
Okay, just you talking about it is stressing me out. Like, I would have lost my freaking mind.
Man, I was so... And I never told my family that any of this happened. I didn't explain any of this. I went to Corby's that night, and I ranted to him about it. And then he ranted to me about his work, and we were like, all right, cool, mutual understanding. Let's forget about this, play some games. But dang, man.
Oh, jeez.
Holy crap, I was so PO'd. And I wish we'd fought Sans that night because that would have made really good content.
You have been so bad.
I was so done, man.
John, don't worry. I can just make sure you have a really bad day whenever we do that.
Thanks,
So,
man. Okay,
I got you.
but here's what I wanted to get at, okay? Because I thought of this and I was like, oh, I can talk about that for Spicy Nuggs, like the day after, because I cooled down.
Of course.
And I can laugh about it now, sort of. But then, I was preparing for my speech, for my public speaking class, and what we're doing is we're taking an old speech and converting it to, like, work for today.
Okay.
So the speech I chose was one that my ethics professor actually had us read. It was given in 2005 at some like college or university commencement, graduation, something.
Some ceremony.
It was some dude speaking. Anyways, what he was very like straightforward and just like he gave an example of like a day like that, but like he said, you know, you college students actually don't know what the boring, mundane facts of life are. You don't know what it's like to work 6 or 8 to 10 hours in a day and then start to drive home just wanting to go die on your sofa, but then realize you don't have food at home because you've been meaning to shop but you got too busy. So now you have to go to the store and you have to go endure all the other people who've made the same mistake as you, and you're all trying to avoid eye contact with each other. And then you finally get all the stuff that you need after winding through all those stupid aisles, and then you reach the checkout and there's a long line because they're understaffed for some reason, and there's a frantic looking lady checking everybody out, and just on and on and on and on like that. You know, basically a day like I just had, right?
Right.
And he said, you don't know what that's like. And in that moment, if you're going to be able to be like a better real person, if you're going to be able to get outside of just thinking about yourself, because frankly, we all just think like, well, this is all about me, which it was, you know, my day sucked. My day sucked. But like the people in the car in front of me that I almost crashed into, they had a small kid in the back. Wonder how they felt about a giant truck barreling toward them. You know? Or just like, I don't know, on and on and on like that. So like being able to just like separate yourself from the situation and be like, okay, well, I mean, it sucked. But like the people who are getting a passport for their 1-month-old infant, they're clearly not originally from the United States. They weren't great at English. But like, they're getting like paperwork done to like get their child to be a citizen or something. I don't know, you know? So like, that's a big deal. They need it to be done right, you know? So it's just like,
You know, I feel like that happens a lot where like something happens to you, or you're like, and like maybe like you were already having a bad day. You're like, oh my gosh, like why would that person like do that?
Yeah.
Like, can't they see him having a crappy day?
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe they had just like equally as bad of a day that you just had,
or just a worse life in general.
yeah,
you
or
know?
like something like they're upset because maybe like they have really crap going on in their life that you just don't know about. So
I guess like, and this is the question that's been coming to me a lot, especially in my like ethics class, because like the whole point of my ethics class is like how to have a graceful presence and like, you know, live moment by moment and all this bull crap. But like, how do you actually turn that switch off in you? Because we're all so in our own heads. Like, how do you actually separate yourself? Because in the moment, it's easy to, like, now to be like, oh, man, that must suck for that person. I wasn't the only one in a bad situation there. But,
Right.
like, in the moment, how do you be like, okay, chill out, Sean? You know what I mean?
man, that's really hard. For me, at least, I often get worked up over things that I have no control over. And I just have to remind myself that, hey, like,
Yeah.
nothing that I did differently would have changed what happened. And just kind of, like, accepting that, and then realizing that there's no reason to be upset. Which is hard. Like, even when I think that, I'm still upset thinking that, 'cause I'm like, but man, I'm upset because this happened.
You know, that's
I don't know.
Yeah, that's definitely like step one, is just being able to accept things that you can't control. But then there's like, I think like that in itself is difficult. But what about accepting the things you can control
Ooh.
that you just screwed up on?
I think that just comes down to accepting mistakes, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's really, like, nobody likes to admit they're wrong. Or that they did something they shouldn't have done. Like, I feel like it's almost normal for people to make an excuse when something goes wrong that they did, rather than just be like, yeah, I screwed up.
Yeah.
And I actually used to do that a lot. Like, I would just,
yeah.
any excuse that comes to mind, I'm like, oh yeah, but I noticed, I have a few family members who do it as well, and it drives me crazy. And so,
tried to kill
whenever like, now whenever something happens, I'm like, yeah, I screwed up. And I guess the one thing that really changed that for me, I think, was getting caught in a lie. I have no idea what it was about, but I was talking with Ryan, and he said something like, he's like, do you even, and he asked me, and he's like, do you know what that is? I'm like, oh yeah, totally. Had no clue, right?
Yeah.
And then he asked me, what is it? I'm like, oh, fetch. I'm like, it was over at that moment.
Yeah.
So then I had to bite the bullet and be like, yeah, I didn't know. And that was worse than just saying no in general and accepting that I'm naive. And so now I'm just like, whenever that happens, I'm just like, yeah, no, I don't know. Tell me, educate me, please.
Yeah. It's
I don't know.
Yeah, just like admitting when you're wrong, admitting you don't know something, like just when, like, because I feel like wherever you are, everyone's just kind of got a face on, you know?
Right.
And it's just the way it is. Like, we're not going to be just like completely open, and I don't think we all should be bawling our heads off at freaking college anyways. I mean,
not that we already are.
I mean, we probably all are, but like, we're all pretty good at just like, you know, everyone walking around in the halls silently, just like staring forward like cows, just going throughout their lives, you know. But like,
don't make eye contact. Don't make eye contact.
Yeah, like legitimately. But like, I wonder like how. I feel like people are pretty well adjusted a lot of times, but like everyone's just got like, I guess, the pride, where you're just like, well, I want to put off this air so that people don't think I'm just like a mess.
Right.
But I think it's important to note this meme I found, which is, you know, it's okay if you fall apart sometimes. Tacos fall apart and we still love them.
It's true. I love tacos.
Yeah, man. So
I think a lot of it comes down to just, I think, like, going back to your story, it was a lot of little things that added up, I think.
100%.
And you just have to realize that, like, just reflect, like, does this thing really matter? Like, is it really worth getting upset over?
Tomorrow, is this gonna even make a difference?
Right. But, like, saying it's so easy.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, in that moment, wow.
I wonder, okay, so, well, are there any, like, specific tools or actions that a person can take to calm themselves down in that moment? What do you think?
I think everybody has their, like, a different way. Like, for me, I'd have to be alone.
Right.
Like, I've always, like, kind of accepted the fact that I just need more alone time than most people, I think. Like, I'm pretty introverted, and, like, being in public and talking to people a lot of the time stresses me out more than...
I feel you, man. Yeah.
Like, and, like, just being alone is, like, really comforting, I guess, and that's where I really start to, like, think about, like, my day and, like, everything that happened. Like, sure, I can, like, walk from one class to another, or, like, we have a break right now. Like, I'm not really thinking about, like, what's happened through my day so far. Like, really, I reflect on things when I'm alone, I guess. So, like, for me, that, like, it's just being alone and just pondering, I guess. But for some people, like, it could be totally different. Like, some people, they have to go be it with friends, right?
Yeah,
or
to be able to go talk about it with someone, or...
So, I do think even most people talking is a big thing.
Yeah.
Because, like, when you have that bad day and then you can finally tell somebody about it, that is so relieving.
That was like Corby in high school for me. He was my rant buddy. Like, we would just go to the park. Like, we knew Like we went to the park like every day and just did stupid crap.
Right.
But like if there was a day where just crap was wrong, you know, for either of us, like we would get there
was the rant
and
day.
one of us would just talk, you know, and it'd just be like, it was so therapeutic. That's why I went to Corby, you know, because the first thing I did, like you said, I was alone. My family was like, let's go to dinner. I was like, I can't be in public anymore. I hid in my room under my covers. But then after like an hour or two of that, I was like, okay, let's go face the world. Corby texted me. He was like, hey, are we fighting Sans? I'm like, I can rant with Corby. And I guess that's like always been like one of my, I always want to be like that kind of friend who can just like, you can rant to. And it's okay. That's why I think a lot of times like people, like the way they take me is either I'm like, depending on who I'm with, I'm like way too like bombastic and loud, which can be, or on the other side, if I don't know people, a lot of times I'm just completely like dead.
Super quiet.
Yeah, like I am usually at work, like just completely dead. But like people at work even have realized like, oh, I can just talk to this guy about anything and he's just gonna be like, yeah, you know. So it's just like, at least that gives them something. Like that's, I don't know, that's something I wish I could be a little better at, I guess. It's just like being able to just like hear someone just be like, this day sucked, and just be like, all right, yeah, go ahead, just talk.
Tell me about it.
It doesn't matter. Like I can't give a solution to it, I can't be an answer to it, but at least I can just sit there and be like, yeah, that sucks.
I think, like, honestly, having those types of people around is so important. Because, like you were saying a few weeks ago, you said, how do you put it? You have different friends for different reasons or something like that.
Sure.
Different friends for different things.
Different folks for different strokes for different folks. There it is.
There you go. And like that's so true. Like, say with X-friend, it's just a great time the whole time. You party, have a great time. But then Y, it's like you really can just sit down and talk. And like sometimes like that's just so important because like I can't.
Yeah, they're both.
Sometimes
important.
I've been in like at a party or something. I'm like, man, I don't even want to be here.
Yeah.
Not because like I'm not having a good time, but because I just needed something else, I guess.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it is just like self-reflection and having the right people around. But
if you can just understand what you need in the moment. Wow, that went a direction.
that might be the
most heartfelt one.
Heartfelt one we've ever had,
Wow.
Sean. How do we ruin it?
ASMR
with Sean.
Thank you, everyone, so much for joining us.
Yeah, she did it.
I am very grateful to be able to rant with you over the internet.
Tell us your rant stories below.
Rant to us in the comments. Or you can just talk to us. Probably, unless we don't want to talk to you, which is a possibility.
Very likely.
That's all I got. Anything else we good? Give us a really cool like ending liner from Zach. Zach's best ending liner.
You can't put me on the spot like that,
I'm
man.
putting you on the spot.
Nothing
Go. I'm still Sean.
I'm still sad.
Bye-bye. Obviously. It just barely started recording, so it missed all the compliments to me. Dang it! Phew! Zach was saying so many good things about me.
It never happened. Pixel didn't happen.
Do it again! Do it again! Say it again!
You're like a little kid who's not getting what they want. I want you to say it again!
Say it! Say it and spray it.
I just imagine like a water ball like you're just a cat. Bad.
I hope
Bad
those
shot.
people playing baseball back there didn't hear that.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
Oh, I probably did.
It's like, what is
Also,
that
this person
weird?
walking this direction. Whatever.
How dare they walk in our direction?
I know. Should we just start before they get here? I'm starting.
I think we're really good at long, awkward endings. It's like one of our buddy talents.
She's too close now. Now we do have to wait. Gosh dang it.
I mean, you don't have to. Just start right where she's in front of us.
And we're coming back. Just like, oh, fudge.
Make sure it's really loud.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't do that. That'd be scary for, you know.
the person she's talking to on the phone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They just hear it. Oh man, here comes another person. I'm gonna have to cut some of this out. This is too long. This is almost 2 minutes.
There's another person too, Sean.
All right, here we go.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Gosh dang it, man.
Now's your chance. Wait!